over. I think in the second innings, wickets in hand are key in keeping up with the rate, because it's a ground where you can keep ticking over on, but boundaries are hard to come by. So if you fall behind on the rate, it can creep up with you at the back end of the innings.
Indeed. Right, thank you very much indeed. Sakib, who's part of our team today, along with Mark Wood, Jimmy Addison. We've got a magnificent fast bowling team. And then Simon, Atif and in me. But, you know, you can't have it all. End of the innings, 3-3-3 for 5 then. South Africa winning the toss, choosing to have a bat first. They lost Quinton to Kock after a 35-run stand in the 7th over, bowled by Sam Curran. Really fine piece of bowling, just rolling the fingers over the ball, completely deceiving Quinton de Kock. And a big partnership worth 109 runs between Janneman, Malan and Rassie van der Dussen. Malan eventually caught by Livingstone off the bowling of Ali for 57. Markram then came in and put on 151 runs between he and Rassie van der Dussen. Markram was gone, caught by Bairstow in the deep off the bowling of Livingstone for 77. And then 2 balls and 2 runs later, van der Dussen was out bowled by Livingstone for 133. Final wicket to fall, that of Heinrich Klaasen in the final over of the innings. Caught by Roy off the bowling of Carse for 12. In terms of the bowling figures, Sam Curran was luckless. 10 overs, 1 for 67. Matthew Potts just bowled 4 at the start of the innings on debut before heading off the field suffering from the effects of the heat. He was 4 overs, none for 33. Moeen Ali, 8 overs, 1 for 47. Brydon Carse, 9 overs, 1 for 46. Ben Stokes in his final ODI, 5 overs, none for 44. Andile Rashid, 10 overs, none for 63. And Liam Livingstone, reasonably expensive, but a very useful 4 overs, 2 for 29 at the back end of the innings. So in about 30 minutes or so from now, England will be chasing 334 for victory in this first one-day international against South Africa. And he's ultimately statistical little insights from that innings. I mean, the lack of sixes, is that the headline?
Well, yes, if I've crunched the numbers right, it's the second highest total in a men's one-day international not to feature a 6. Joint second highest. England had 333 also for 6 against Australia in 2011, and Sri Lanka 345 for 8 in a one-day international against West Indies in February 2020.
And where does this, in terms of England's bowling performances in the last little while against India, obviously England lost a series, but there was generally a bit of a sense that the bowling unit, particularly Reece Topley, was outstanding, but it feels as though they've, as a unit, they've started to find a little bit of a groove, particularly towards the back end of the innings. When we were on that tour to the Netherlands, that was all the conversation, was how Matthew Mott was going to get the side to be more effective at closing out innings with the ball.
Well, I think you mentioned Carse towards the end, ended up with 1 for 46 from 9. We've seen the absence of Liam Plunkett since the World Cup played a hugely influential role in sort of 4 years up to the World Cup, bowling tough middle overs, and Carse did that very well today. But it doesn't stand out on the scorecard. Plunkett often didn't leap off the scorecard, but he was a hugely influential part of that team.
Well, indeed, and that's what I mean. Stats don't always tell the full story. You can make them tell us whatever you want to, and indeed quite often do. Right then, Simon Mann is standing by on a significant day for English cricket, because Ben Stokes, only yesterday we learnt of it, has announced his retirement for one-day international cricket, and a fitting place to close out his 50-over career in match 105. Simon?
Yeah, not quite the circumstances I think he would have hoped for, though. Broiling conditions this afternoon. It really was intense for England and the spectators as well, and Rassie van der Dussen, a magnificent innings of both that skill and determination and fitness. I just get a sort of sense of England players going into that dressing room and saying something on the lines of, thank goodness that is all over, after what was 3 hours and 50 minutes in the field. And it's a long time on a warmish day, let alone on the hottest day ever in this country. And the ground staff are out there marking the creases. 5 to 5 now. It's no cooler, and I'm sure it is just as hot where you are as well. Most people listening to this as well, if you are in the UK. The remarkable thing is tomorrow, just looking at the temperatures tomorrow in this area, at one point tomorrow it's going to be 14 degrees, so that's a drop of something like 25 degrees on the highest today, 36 at the moment in this area. Yeah, actually could go as low as 12 tomorrow. But yeah, it's fair to say a cooling change is imminent, and perhaps I think most people will be quite happy that that is the case, and it looks as though it might be hitting the whole of the country as well. These two teams meet again on Friday in Manchester at Old Trafford, and then on Sunday at Headingley in the final match of this series. And actually, one thing to note as well is that for England, this is a second game in 3 days. South Africa did have a bit of a gap actually between that second Lions game, which I think was played on Friday when they played in Worcester, July the 14th. That was 5 days ago. Was that Friday's Olds? The heat's addling my brain. Thursday, okay. Well, so they've had an extra day to prepare, get up here and prepare for this match. And both sides wanted a bat first today because they realise how punishing it can be in this heat. And South Africa 3-3-3 for 5. Where does this stand in terms of actually, if England were to win this, 3-3-4, about highest run chases, from England, and highest run chases in this country? We'll get on to Ben Stokes in just a moment, but I imagine there haven't been that many chases where England have pulled off 334 to win. So even though they play in a very aggressive, positive way, and they've got lots of talent in that batting lineup, they're going to have to play extremely well to win this match. It's also noticeable as well the ground staff are wheeling the light roller up and down the pitch. England feel this is dry. What they don't want is a heavy roller to break it up. So 3-3-3 for 5 from their 50 overs. What are we looking at in terms of highest run chases from England?
It would be their 6th highest successful chase in terms of the target beaten to win. The highest was 361 against West Indies in Barbados in February 2019. Their highest in this country. They chased down 359 to beat Pakistan in Bristol in the series before the 2019 World Cup 5-game series that they played. Then also chased down 341 in that series as well.
Great, thanks very much, Sols. Now, this is Ben Stokes' last one-day international for England. The Test captain announced his retirement from the format yesterday, describing the cricket schedule as unsustainable. He'll continue to feature for England in T20s and, of course, Test matches. 11 years on from making his ODI debut, he plays today for his 105th and final time on his home ground here in Durham. Shortly, we'll hear from him. He's been speaking to Henry Moran before play today about his decision. But first, we're going to relive Ben Stokes' most memorable moment in a one-day international shirt. His unbeaten 84 in the 2019 World Cup final helped England on their way to their first 50-over World Cup win, coming in dramatic style against New Zealand at Lord's. We can head back to that final 3 years ago, more specifically the final over of England's run chase, and hear how the closing stages unfolded with the help of Stokes himself and some of his England teammates talking us through it.
Here's Bolt, the start of the final over. He runs in smoothly, bowls to Stokes. It's a lovely full ball. He digs it out, and they're not going to take a run there.
It's the right decision. He's got to stay on strike. He's got to think 4 boundaries, 3 boundaries. If Bolt gets one on length, he's got to clear it over long
yes,
gone.
He does.
If it's full, he might be able to glide it past those 4 fielders on the offside for a 4.
I think the only real time I started to panic was when the first 2 balls of last over were dots.
5 balls to go, 15 needed. Bolt's on the way, bowls to Stokes, who hammers out again to the edge of the circle, straight to the man. 227 for 8, 15 needed. What can Stokes do? Bolt's on his way, bowls to him. That's a length, and he heaves it away into the leg side. That's going to go for 6. What a shot!
To be honest, I've never ever played a sweep shot off a seamer before, so I've got absolutely no idea why I thought to play that shot.
Well, Ben Stokes, he's the fiercest of competitors.
I've faced Trent quite a lot at the end of innings. When he misses his Yorker, it's generally a full toss. That was probably what was going through my mind. Honestly, I can't fully remember, but I thought if I get down and sweep it, then can just sort of take the pace and hopefully it will go.
Oh my, 233, 9 off 3. In goes Bolt, it's a full toss, swiped in the leg side. They want to get 2 here surely. Come on, Andile Rashid, run! Stokes for the far end, he's desperately getting there, dives! Now, that came off Stokes. If it goes to 4, there's nothing they can do about it.
That's 4.
There's nothing they can do about it. Stokes is saying to the umpire, don't let it count. But it does count.
You get a tell from the keeper, you know, where he stood, because obviously the keeper comes straight up to the stumps in a situation like that, and he didn't move. So I knew that I'm going to have to get out a dive here to give myself any chance whatsoever to get in here. You know, I just got to a point where I thought, this is where I'm going to have to dive.
Stokes is diving for his ground. The throw hit him absolutely accidentally and ricocheted in the boundary.
Hit his bat.
As he dived to go in.
You know, you can never ever see that happen again. From a 70-yard boundary to hit my bat and go for 4, it was a very unfortunate thing to happen, but you just can't do things about that. But the way that I think New Zealand played throughout the whole tournament and the way that they are known for playing, led by Kane, there was no complaints about it whatsoever, and I said to Kane, I'll be apologising about that for a long, long time.
That is a freak. 3 from 2, but 2 ties it.
The amount of thought and effort I put into, constructing that innings and the processes that I went through, I wouldn't have been able to do 5 years ago, definitely not. But that comes from experience, that comes from playing, and that comes from being in situations like that similar over the 4 years that we've had together as a one-day group.
Get ready.
2 ties it, and there'll be a super over if that's the way it stays. 3 to win. Bolt goes in and bowls to Stokes, who hammers it down the ground. They're running, and Rashid's coming back for the second. Surely the throw comes in, and he's run out.
Stokes is on strike.
Stokes is on strike. Can Stokes hit 2 to